It was an interesting week, what with the tax bill, cryptocurrencies, and...
I just got into some cryptocurrency last week. It took me 2 weeks to get approved on a Bitcoin exchange.
What exchange did you go through?
Bitstamp.
Okay, they're fairly reputable.
That's what I was thinking. Plus, they've never got hacked, so, I think I'm okay with them.
So I sold off my Bitcoin and my Litecoin, and I have a reason for this. So, I don't know if you know who the creator of Litecoin is. His last name is Lee. And Litecoin is probably, or arguably, the number 2 cryptocurrency on the planet. Well, with that and Bcash floating around, and the guy selling out of his Bitcoin or whatever have you on that front, and Coinbase's market manipulation this week, I just went, you know what? Something big is coming, and I'm going to sell now. And I was right, something big did happen. Wasn't as big as I anticipated, but it was still fairly big. I only ended up selling about 13 grand worth of currency for it, though. So, I still have some. It's just, I don't want to be tied to a coin that the creator of the coin doesn't back or support anymore.
Understood.
I mean, he can say he supports it, or he can say he's working on it, and that's fine. Yeah, if he has no skin in the game, why should I have skin in the game, is my general thought.
Sorry I had to go pee at such an inconvenient time. I just watched Star Wars yesterday, and needless to say, I'm never holding in anything ever again.
That movie was long as It was.
It really was. In that last 30 minutes, I drank a whole large Mellow Yellow. Needless to say, did not enjoy that last 30 minutes.
Fair enough.
But I was not missing the fight scene.
I don't blame you.
I think you should buy ABC stock, though. Didn't Disney just bought, Fox News?
I'm just excited to see X-Men and the Avengers.
Bunch of heroes coming together and battling to save the world is cool and all, but how many of those movies have we had at this point? A dozen? 2 dozen?
I mean, who wouldn't want to see Hugh Jackman and Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man and Wolverine?
Okay, I'll give you that one.
You know,
I'm going to go see the movie just because I have Movie Pass or whatever. I'm starting to get a little burnt on the number of superhero movies that are coming out.
Sometimes they do cool stuff, everyone's different.
Yeah, but it feels like the entire sci-fi genre has moved towards...
Well, you can't say you're just burnt out of a genre, because certain genres are different things.
I'm not burnt out of a genre, I'm burnt out of a segment of the genre. I'm not burnt out of zombie movies, I'm burnt out of zombie movies where people spend 90% of it talking. I'm not burnt out of superhero movies, I'm burnt out of group of superheroes.
No, you really should check out Walking Dead. I think that's right.
Oh no, it's gone down. It's gone down this past season.
I think I stopped watching beginning of season 5.
Season 5 was a really good season. Finished season 5 and then stopped watching, because the rest of it is awful.
It got too far away from the comic books for me. And then I wasn't able to follow the storyline, and they were making up their own thing.
Oh, that's exciting.
We have a new base, guys.
Surprise, I'm not actually homeless. I got a home.
Yeah, right? It's just a home with no shelter of any kind.
No roof.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I got a little shack, but...
Did somebody actually start working on the Outer Rim? Holy crap.
The Rim?
Oh, just, there's... Somebody cut through part of one of the islands out here. And I hadn't seen this before, and I have no idea, who did it or why. I'm presuming it's text.
Is it proportionally correct?
I don't know. I'd have to measure.
Because that would suck if it wasn't, and he worked so hard on it.
It looks proportionately correct, but that doesn't mean anything.
You guys need to leave me borders, of what proportions you want.
So I fully intend to. I'm just
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we need, because I would start building them.
I'm just looking at the messages that are on 9B's subreddit, and it just amazes me. I mean, there's 3 new map arts this week, which is pretty awesome.
Map arts are always good.
Yeah.
3 weeks ago, I finally gave Ivan his prize.
Oh, did you finally give him his gift?
He's all good. That was a sweet map art, by the way. Thank you for your contribution to 2B2T history.
2B2T history, huh? We changed names?
What? Oh, boy.
Hey, might as well 2B2T.
Wrecked. I'm not 100% sure that this is accurate. I'm going to have to do the measurements to make sure that it lines up, but I feel like if you put in all this effort, it's probably accurate.
And it is text, too. He's really good at, mapping out stuff and getting everything proportionally correct.
Yeah, I'll have to double check it, but it feels right.
Wait, is this all middle, or is this, attached stuff? Is this all, the middle, the center?
This is all dead void out here. I'm not sure. I think he's a little confused on how far out it goes. So he did 2 separate sections. Though I'm not sure. I'll have to look at the map again. Oh, hey, look. The island comes to an end here. Apparently, you didn't.
Yeah,
finish.
there isn't void under us. It's just lava. This is a new dimension. This is just a dimension for admins.
So you're telling me I gave op to what? 8
This is
people?
the admin. This is the admin
No.
dimension. This is
He
where
gave
we.
up. He's over.
This is where we work on plugins.
By the way, what's the water for? To catch yourself or something? Anyway, I'm excited for this base. Do we want to reveal what we're trying to build out here?
I think it's
No.
better to keep it as a surprise. You know.
Okay.
Mordor.
I think we'll let people try to figure out what exactly we're trying to build out here, and then once somebody guesses correctly, then we'll give it away.
I'm excited to get out there.
Why are you not here already? I think it's going to be fun if anybody ever manages to actually find our base out here. It's bound to happen eventually.
Yo, JJ, when did you buy your Bitcoin?
Originally, like I've
Yeah.
owned it since it was $1.
God, nice.
I'm now out
Just
of
one,
Bitcoin. Over time, I have selectively sold off about 35. I am now
Okay, so
Bitcoinless. I'm happy about not having any Bitcoin. It's a lot of stress.
Well, look, I always like playing cheaper stock, and some of these other ones fluctuate pretty quickly. And if I can get rid of it with like low transfer fees, I'm not too worried about it. The Bitcoin's really interesting, so I wish I would have gotten into it sooner, though.
I share your sentiment. I think that I'm going to end up buying quite a bit of alts here shortly and just hanging on to them and seeing what they do. I haven't found any yet that I'm really interested in. The problem I have is that I won't invest unless I think the coin is undervalued or at least valued appropriately. And the entire market is way up above where it should be for the most part.
Saturated or just overvalued?
Overvalued. Just
Okay.
crazy overvalued. Like, maybe... so I'm only holding on to one coin at the moment that... well, I'm holding on to 3, actually. But one that I think might be undervalued at the moment, and that's Bytecoin. And if you look, it's the bottom of the entire ledger. Like, you go to the coin market cap, it's
Yeah.
the bottom. It's the last coin.
What exchange do you use?
So that depends on the day, but for this, I'd probably use something like Changely.
What about Kraken?
Does Kraken have that
don't
coin
think
on
so.
it? I don't think it does. It's really frustrating because you'd think that all the exchanges would just try to have as many coins as possible on them so they could get
Yeah.
fees or whatever have you. But that's not how it ends up working out. Different exchanges will have this coin, but they won't have that coin. I could see an exchange not having it if a coin's too new or whatever, but like some of these coins have been around for a year or two at this point, and exchanges don't have them. Coinbase, I think, supports a total of 4 coins. I'm excited about the tax bill, though. Like, the Democrats are super upset about it or whatever, and all I could see is that it's going to save me like 5 to 10 grand every year. Well, it's not permanent for individual taxpayers, but I run a couple of different companies. From my perspective, like, I already pay a fortune in taxes, so super excited about not having to pay as much.
I agree. You have to get your own healthcare?
Yeah, I don't have healthcare. Can't afford it.
Okay.
I don't have to worry about anything because I'm not of age to do that stuff.
I can no longer afford healthcare. Do you have healthcare, Bizo?
I don't even know. I don't have to know.
I've got sweet healthcare. Oh my god. I signed up for the ultimate plan at work and not even that much.
Adopt me, Daddy Colt.
Yes! Oh, we could do a domestic partnership.
Might be worth it for me.
In my state where I'm at, there's like no requirements for it.
Okay, to anybody who says that I live in X and I have free healthcare is not free. Somebody else is paying for it. May not be you, but somebody is, and your tax rates are obviously higher for it.
I live in my parents' house. My healthcare is free.
Yeah,
Exactly, yeah.
it's free.
That's my
alright?
situation, yeah.
Anybody who claims I have free healthcare is wrong. Healthcare is not free. Either you're paying for it or someone else is paying for it through their taxes or through other premiums or whatever have you. That's the reality. That's how the world works. And people who claim, oh, the government should just pay for our healthcare. No, the people are still paying for the healthcare. It doesn't matter if the government's paying for it or not. People are still ending up paying for it. And if your tax rates are 45, 55, 65%, people stop working because it's cheaper and more efficient for them not to work and get a paycheck from the government than it is for them to go out and find a job. That is the reality of how the world works. It's not about whether or not you got your healthcare paid for by taxes. Those taxes had to be paid for by somebody, and that somebody wasn't able to do something with their money that they otherwise would have been able to do. We can sit here and argue about whether or not people should have healthcare paid for the government, and that's fine, but the reality is someone is paying for your healthcare. Doesn't matter whether or not you don't think someone is, Somebody has to. The question is whether or not that benefits society by doing that.
Well, if you take it from a private economy solution with a corporate interest, you kind of have a different view because you're on your own doing your own thing.
So, Lazy Boy made a point on the chat that people give money to the government and the government gives out healthcare. While that's entirely true, our current paid-for healthcare system, paid for by the people, invests more into finding cures than any other country on the planet. There are more medical patents and medical creations in America than in any other country in the world. And the reason for that is because they're incentivized to do so because the government isn't telling them, oh, you can only charge X for certain cures or whatever have you.
They're also indemnifying them against, so say they work on, they kill a bunch of people.
Sometimes our society has to come up with drugs and test them out and not know whether or not they're going to do the thing that they're supposed to do. That's just the reality of how medicine works. It's not ideal, but that is how medicine works. If somebody wasn't willing to take a cancer drug for the first time, right, then everybody would have died from that cancer. But as we have it, cancer rates are on a 10-year decline.
Okay, I get it. Some people will choose to work for a company just for healthcare benefits, even if they aren't, if they have their own thing going on, they might take a job with someone because it's cheaper to go with a large company for the benefits.
Okay, and that's just an incentive the large company has.
Well, I was relying on the first subject you had where somebody's always paying for it. Well, if you have a larger pool with a company, oh my God, the benefits are enormous.
While entirely true, your company is still paying a fortune for your healthcare. As an example, I worked for a company in Maryland that was a very, very large company as far as total pool went. Before Obamacare, I was paying less than $200 a month. After Obamacare, I was paying $600 or $700. But they were paying upwards of $4 or $5 grand per employee annually for healthcare. So somebody was still paying for it. Doesn't matter the size of the pool, that money still needs to come out of someone's pocket somewhere. If Amazon is willing, in your case, to pay for your healthcare a little bit more, that's fine, so be it, but someone's still paying for it.
How's Memebase 2.0 coming along?
It's actually not called Memebase 2.0.
Oh, that's a big surprise considering there's only memes there.
It's called K3.
Yeah, I heard a lot about it. You're going to be focusing all your bills around one big bill. Gotta give it to you guys. You guys made a bad base.
Just bad that you didn't get to dumpster it. That's what we
I dumpstered it. What do you mean? I blew it up, JJ.
I don't know what you're talking about.
JJ, I blew it up.
No.
I live streamed it.
I
live streamed it, JJ.
Nah, that didn't happen.
There's a
Fake
video
news. Fake news.
Yo, JJ, I gotta give you a shout out here, man. The cat spawn rate is actually decent. I made an ocelot farm, right? Because I have no friends. And I've actually been getting hella Minecraft pussy. I gotta give it to you. Shout out.
I actually didn't change the spawn rate at all.
No, but the problem is that they're on the same spawn rate as mobs.
Mobs got turned way up. All I know is that hopefully this build is going to be amazing. Hopefully nobody comes to the base and does an Allah Akbar.
Well, you've got Link corrupted there, so there's a pretty big chance. And if that doesn't work out, Bisa will probably try to overthrow the entire base again.
Yeah, because I totally do that.
Anyway, at some point we'll release the name of what our base is supposed to be. I think people will figure it out eventually. I'm excited for somebody figuring it out. Heck, do we want to set a prize for the first person to figure out what it's called?
Yes, we will.
No. First person gets a free ride to Memebase 2. Yeah, we do first person to figure it out gets a free ticket to Memebase 2.
It is not Memebase in the end.
I know there is a Memebase 2 though. When you get a free ticket to it.
If somebody tells you from our base what it's called, then the competition's over or whatever. But the first person to figure it out and PM me the answer on Reddit, I'm going to go ahead and offer 0.2 Litecoin, whatever that is worth at that point in time. Is that what it's worth currently? $60.85? It's not bad. I have nothing planned for Christmas. Everybody says I shouldn't able to do it for Christmas, but the reality is...
Yes, you should. Yeah, you should roll back to Memebase.
Yes.
Could do that, but I'd have to upload 400, 500 gigs worth of data, minimum.
You can do it.
Minimum.
JJ, don't you have a gigabit connection?
I do. Still take half a day.
JJ, what's your opinion on this?
On what? Net neutrality?
Net neutrality. Tell me.
I have already given my opinion. I think that the fact that Pajit, or whatever his name is a moron, and we should have kept net neutrality.
What?
You know, honestly, that was one of the biggest things I was worried about with Trump coming into power.
No, honestly, he's probably a libertarian. I mean, let's get real here.
I'm a social anarchist, so whatever.
What makes you think I'm a libertarian?
I don't know, you just seem like one. You know, you get that vibe from people.
I'm still surprised you think I'm a libertarian.
What are you?
A libertarian.
Librarian.
Really? I knew it.
Yeah.
I could have sworn you told me at one point, but then
I don't think I've ever. I
just
don't
know.
think I've ever told anybody, but my political leanings are pretty obvious when you get me into the subject. Like,
Yeah, I was about to say, you really do sound like a libertarian. It's just the way, I don't know.
yeah, but I'm not the kind of libertarian that everybody else seems to fall into.
Do you like any regulation?
Yes, I think that
Okay.
there are valid and very useful regulations. As an example, most libertarians are against net neutrality. I'm for net neutrality. But I also think that net neutrality wouldn't be needed if our system was fixed to the point where it wasn't necessary. Like if there was actual competition between ISPs, you know,
Exactly, yeah.
then we wouldn't need net neutrality, and I'd be fine with getting rid of it as a
But
society.
I think the point of having it gone is, when it is gone, it's going to cause other companies to rise up
No.
to do what other companies aren't doing.
You mean lobby harder?
No, just like have competition that
Well,
is
the
reasonable.
problem is that the way our government is currently structured, you can't have competition between ISPs.
No. The biggest problem that our government has was Citizens v. United that allowed unlimited corporate lobbying from, lobbying. That needs to go.
Yeah, but we had a problem long before that with corporations donating.
It's called Chris Christie.
I don't honestly believe that corporations should exist. Like, I believe that there should be limited liabilities companies, but not corporations. I think that corporations are too large and have too much influence, too much power. Back in the day, that in order to form a corporation, like the size of a railroad or whatever have you, you had to get written permission from the government, basically stating that no one small entity could fulfill that market niche, that you had to grow to the size that a railroad or telephone company would in order to be able to provide service in the right way. Telephone companies didn't actually need that. The first telephone companies, up until Bell lobbied the government to get rid of the requirement for corporations to go ahead and receive a charter from the government. Before that, all telephone companies were small, locally owned private entities.
Yes, and a lot of railroads were small, privately owned local entities to the Penn Central.
Yes, but they had to get permission from the government to do that because of the fact that the government had to see a legitimate need for a corporation to exist on that scale. In order to have a cross-country railroad, you do need a large entity to step in and build all of that infrastructure. You just
Agreed.
do. But for an ISP, you don't need that kind of infrastructure. Yes, pricing would be a little bit higher in the local level, but you'd end up with better service and multiple providers competing for your business, which would be much better than the current system we have.
Oh, I hate that I can only pick from either Comcast or Comcast.
I have two
Strange.
choices where I live, which is nice, but I'm definitely an outlier. 1 in every 9 American families have a choice in between 2 ISPs that have 25 megabits per second or higher on them. That's
Pretty
ridiculous.
much. Yeah. Both of them aren't really a choice if you really think about it. Like,
No.
either way, you're getting shafted.
At any rate, I think that large companies, corporate-sized companies, should require a charter from the government. And for the most part, we should be very sparing in who we hand those out to.
Honestly, I want my interaction with my ISP the same as the electrical company. I'll pay per kilobyte, whatever you want. It needs to be incredibly low. It needs to be standard. Yeah, I'll bitch about it once in a while, but like...
Your electric company doesn't ask you what you're using your electric for, either.
Precisely.
Or charge you a different rate based off of whether or not the electric you're using is, like they can charge at peak times different prices, but they don't charge, oh, well, you're running a
Okay,
fridge.
net neutrality has only existed for 2 years, and they haven't done that before net neutrality.
Yes, they did.
Not charging rates for different,
Yes, they did.
What people are saying about having it like a cable package,
They did.
Dude.
T-Mobile started offering different...
Unlimited.
They offered
Okay, but
unlimited
I'm talking
video on certain portions of their platform, provided you paid an extra monthly fee.
Yeah.
Okay?
For example,
Okay, but it's not what people are starting to post about, like where, oh, you buy this, you get like cable package, like you get Yahoo.
Yeah, but there's nothing
so
preventing
that's
them
features,
from. There's nothing preventing them from doing it that way. They could go ahead and charge by what websites you access, the Reddit access fee and the YouTube access fee. There's nothing that prevents them from
Right.
doing that anymore.
the Netflix surcharge.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like it's a lot of chaos, misinformation, and a lot of stuff that's just driving people crazy for no reason.
There's no guarantee that that wouldn't happen, and
But there's no guarantee
it
that
is
this wouldn't
sensationalizing the problem, but these companies have done it for their own services. Okay, so if you used Comcast's live streaming service over Netflix, they would not count their bandwidth usage on their platform towards your total usage count. As an example, Comcast would allow you to use their streaming service for free and then charge you for bandwidth going to Netflix. Just saying.
I don't know. I just feel like it's so far-fetched that I don't think...
From that usage perspective, they were charging people $50 every time they went over their usage cap. So if you used Netflix, you were disincentivized to use it over their own service. That is an example that did happen, and I'm okay with using that as a means.
Okay, but has anything happened like the cable package? Like where all these different websites cost like that?
Not yet. But charging different rates is what happened. They charged a different rate for their bandwidth over Netflix's bandwidth. That did happen. So it's just a matter of rewording it to say that it could end up like the cable packages. Because that's what happened. They were charging more money for Netflix than they were for their own service. That's wrong. They were charging a different rate. It just happened to be that their rate was free versus more money for Netflix. That is what we're getting at here. That is the core of the argument. Take it for what you will. Obviously, that's not exactly what was proposed on Reddit or whatever have you with the different rates for different providers, but that's entirely what could happen, and there's nothing preventing them from doing that now.
So it's the possibility of that happening. Freak out, but I mean, has there been anything proposed like that yet? I mean,
beyond that,
from companies?
Okay, let's say that Comcast decides to start their own Facebook, their own Netflix, their own...
That's like saying there's a possibility that a giant asteroid will crash into the Earth.
No. There's no... Companies start other companies all the time. So let's say they start their own service called Comcast Book or whatever have you. There's nothing preventing them from slowing down Facebook.com to promote their own service. And in fact, certain ISPs have done this in the past where they'd make their own service faster than the competition's. Spotify had this problem when it started doing music streaming services where Google was throttling people using Spotify over Google services temporarily. There's nothing that prevents them from doing these things, and all of these things should be wrong. They are wrong. Companies shouldn't be allowed to go ahead and say, well, because you're not using our service, we're going to charge you more money for it, which is what's happening. And Comcast was specifically throttling Netflix on their services in order to go ahead and charge Netflix money to access their subscriber base. They were literally slowing Netflix down to a crawl so that they could blackmail Netflix into paying them. There's something wrong about that. And yeah, I get it. What's currently happened isn't exactly what you're proposing, but it's close enough that it's worrisome. And if it continues and keeps going the way it has, that is something that I don't think that we as a people should encourage. There's a reason why the electric company can't charge you different rates based on what appliances you have. Law says they can. And I think that we should have a law on the books that says that ISPs should only be able to charge you based on usage, regardless of where that usage is to and from. Anyway, I think that that's the end of the live stream, guys. Unless Bezo has a...
No retorts from me, the governor.
Okay. It's entirely possible that things will never get that bad, but why should we allow them the opportunity to get that bad, is my big argument.
I mean, what are we going to do about it? We're the people, you know? It's sort of like you can, complain about something all live long day, but I mean, what are you going to do?
Is what it is.
I mean, yeah.
Doesn't really matter what you or I say because the corporations have bought and paid for the government. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Merry Christmas / other holiday to everyone who wants to celebrate something in the next 2 weeks.
Do you celebrate Christmas?
I don't exactly celebrate because,
yeah.
birth of deity or whatever, but I mean,
even I do, but it's more like
it's a gift-giving exchange thing for me. It's not a religious annotation.
Exactly, yeah.
It just, the word has lost its meaning, okay?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Anyway, thanks, guys. Have a good one. See ya.